Please enjoy this feature presentation of the Crooked River Radio Network. This program is rated for all audiences.
Four guys on sports. Four guys on sports. Four guys on sports starts now.
Yeah, donut hole.
Yeah, buddy.
Donut hole? Donut though? Something like that. Good morning, everybody.
Morning.
Nice to see we could make it in today. Yeah.
Yep.
What's going on?
Not much. You do got some stuff going on in the playoffs in the NBA. Yeah.
Yeah, we
Recently had the NFL draft.
Yeah. Can't wait to talk about. Got the NFL schedule coming out.
yeah.
Teams and
I don't know why. I don't know what the NFL's got against Cleveland. That's the screwiest way to start and end a schedule I've ever seen. We'll talk about that coming up here. So what's been going on down there in Texas?
well, looking at the Cowboys schedule, it's interesting. We got 3 primetime games. We were talking, and I think that the as far as ratings goes, they had some pretty high ratings last year. I think was the Thanksgiving primetime game is going to be Dallas and KC. You're talking, although Dallas hadn't been a very good football team in several years, hadn't been the best football team several years, they are still one of the top ratings type teams, and as well as KC now, and because Dallas is one of those teams either you like them or you hate them, and we're talking about 2 of the probably most hated franchises, and also 2 of the we got big fan base as well. I don't know why we do as Cowboys, but we do. I understand.
You guys are in kind of the same boat as we are up here. You got a very loyal fan base, especially for the way we've been treated over the last 20 or 30 years. It just never ends,
Yeah.
Let's since it's been that long, let's talk about the draft a little bit. Watching the first rounds of that draft, it was one of those smack your head moments, like, oh Christ, look what we could have had. And it's funny because I predicted them trading that pick away right after pretty much the first day I heard they got it.
Yeah.
And the first 2 rounds, or the first 2 picks, I just don't know what the hell was with them.
Well, that pick with the Carson Schwarzenegger is because of JLK being out for the season. And Schwarzenegger is a tackling machine, so.
Yeah, that's pretty much the JOK thing is he's not coming. He won't be here for the 25 season, I don't think.
Yeah, and he's out and he's unphysically unable to perform for the season. So
he must have tore up a what do you call it, ACL or something.
No, he still has that neck issue.
Oh,
from last year.
Between that and that other idiot that we have for quarterback that's played 13 games in 5 years. it's like I said, it's time for. They don't want to admit it, but it's been time for a rebuild for 2 years now.
Yeah.
Have they made that huge of a difference? I got to admit that the way this all played out, the lower or the deeper rounds of the draft, they actually picked up a couple of pretty good people.
Yeah, they got the running back situation is going to be fun to watch, I think, because of Junkins and what's his name, Sampson.
Yeah, and then you have 4 quarterbacks.
Yeah.
Oh Lord.
And all you got to do is have the competition to see who's going to be in it.
Well, you know that Watson's not going to be here.
No,
because he's out for the year. He's done. He might as well just retire. But on the other side of that coin, you've still got Kenny Pickett, who's decent. And you got those 2 they just drafted, and along with Mr.
Flacco.
Mr. Flacco, and on top of that, you got what's his name, Sanders.
Yeah,
Sanders and Gabriel.
Now, I think that I've looked at this a couple of different ways. They could keep Flacco and ditch Pickens, but the rumors that are out there right now are saying that Flacco may be the one that they trade.
Yeah.
And they may give it to Pickens.
Yeah.
And then on top of that, you've got Sanders, who actually probably, if he plays his cards right, could start. He could start this year.
Yeah.
But I thought the most comical thing of that whole situation was him not being traded or picked up until the 144th pick.
Yeah.
I mean, that's got to be deflating of one's ego. Don't you guys think?
I think, I think it is. Now, if he, comes out there and becomes a really good quarterback, do they look like a genius?
Well, that's just it. They, if he would have been picked in the second, they would have picked him in the second pick. His money would have been 10 times what it is now.
Oh, sure.
But
Sure.
You don't take there's no Buffalo in most of these places in the NFL.
Yeah.
And when you start going to meetings, from what I heard, the one meeting he did go to that he was not even prepared for, he brought a video game with him and wanted the owners to play the video game with him because it would show his finesse. I mean, seriously, geez.
That I hadn't heard, but watching him, drop the way he did and everything, I think it is. I want to say maybe it was a bit humbling, but
I think what he's got to do now is go out there and prove himself.
And I think he's going to come out there with a little bit of a chip, because also in that, for money's sake, this is a kid that didn't have to play,
Yeah.
He's up that play. But yeah, we'll see if he can prove the naysayers wrong.
Have you noticed that Dion hasn't had a word to say about it? I think that's kind of funny too, to be honest about it.
It will start at some point. And, to me, and don't get me wrong, to me, the difference between him and Dion, which I think Dion was part of the reason that he fell so far, but as most people suspect, but, he has that same, or I guess they say, he has that cockiness about him as Dion. But the difference being, Dion is a player, for the most part, he backed it up.
Yeah, and I think that's what it's going to take for his son, both sons.
Son's going to back it up
And
prove himself, like I said.
yeah, and like I said, yeah, and we'll see. And I think that he's going to turn out to be a pretty good quarterback. Will he be?
He's got to beat out.
Great. I don't know.
Well, Tom Brady was picked in the Tom Brady was picked in the 6th round.
Yeah.
So,
And if he comes out and does that, if he comes out and just really, really exceed all expectations, so to speak, then like I say, hey, they look like a genius.
And then you got Dylan Gabriel there too, so, which everybody he's more of a Tua type player in terms of being a lefty and short. So
yeah. Then we got.
he's a proven winner too. So
Then we got the. I'm just wondering what Carolina's going to do, and I also wonder how Jacksonville's going to what's going to happen with them now that they've actually, both those teams actually picked a couple of pretty decent players, and even
couple decent players, but in terms of their overall drafts, I know I heard Jacksonville's wasn't really that great outside of Hunter.
Yeah, they.
Carolina got that Tet McNeil and the wide receiver from Arizona.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it's going to be interesting.
Mm-hmm.
But
Yeah.
with any luck, they'll at least be able for the Browns to beat them.
Yeah, I was watching, there's another podcast that I listened to with Chat Sports. He had the draft class this year. They named the top 10 of each, after the first round of each players. And the Browns had 2 players, one on defense, one on offense. And the number 1 player on the top 10 for defense was Carson Schlesinger, linebacker. And then the number 4 player on this was on through Gates, the ESPN analyst. That's his top 10 for defense. It was the kid from the Browns, and then the number 4 player on the offense, Gates picked Junkins.
Yeah,
I'm still maybe I think you're a bit overcritical of the Browns draft, but I think they did all right. I think they did pretty good.
well, if they end up with a usable quarterback,
Yeah.
I think it will take the rest of short of the first 2 rounds, the first 2 picks,
Yeah.
their first round picks, to put it that way.
Yeah.
I wasn't real happy with either one of them, but I thought, Cleveland needed so much stuff offensively that, to go out into the draft and start picking willy-nilly on you. You start picking the defensive people as far as the top round of your draft. I can see somewhat why they'd want to do that, but I still thought it was a little irresponsible, to be honest about it. You had, especially quarterback-wise, you've got 2 or 3 of those guys. That kid that when we traded for, that should have, or that did go at number 2, we would have had him. There's no telling what would have happened with that. But they were after draft picks, so that's what they did.
Next year's draft class for quarterbacks is looking.
Well, and you got at least one decent first round pick.
Yeah.
So this is going to be, if you do happen to have misfired, which I wouldn't put it past them, because you just don't know what's going to come across next year or this year.
Yeah.
At least they've got a place where they can pick up another decent player.
Yeah, it all depends too. This next year, also, I know the draft class for the quarterbacks is going to be decent, but the name that keeps popping up if he does come out would be Arch Manning.
Well, that'd be a good one too.
Yeah. Well, he hasn't had too much play yet, so we'll see how he does this year. See, it all depends on how he plays this year, if he comes out or not, too. So,
Right. Yeah, because to me, I hadn't seen enough yet.
next year there'll be quarterbacks, but the year after that is going to be wide receivers. Because not this year, but the next year, that's when Jeremiah comes out, the kid from Alabama for the wide receiver. That's just the top 2.
Yeah, well, by that year, we may not have a Browns team with all the fighting that's going on over the stinking new stadium.
Mm-hmm.
Now they're trying to get there was a bill introduced yesterday to the Browns money. The state has offered to give them $400 or $500 million, something like that. I don't remember how much, but one of the state representatives issued a bill last night or yesterday that wants to take the Browns language off the table.
Mm-hmm.
So they may not be able to get that. But I heard a thing from Haslam here a couple of days ago that said, it don't matter. We're going to have a stadium one way or the other. And he says, I'm not staying in that lakefront stadium anymore.
Yeah.
So that should be, stay tuned for that one.
Yeah.
If it's going to work out, it'll work out. And if it's not, it's not. It's not a whole lot anybody's going to be able to do with. I think that the city of Cleveland is being a tad bit they're being a tad bit mean about it, and it's starting to be reminiscent of what happened with the Browns several years ago when they moved.
I knew you were going to say that.
And I hate to say this, but if you piss his owner off, he can go to Tennessee or wherever he wants to take that team.
Uh-huh.
But, it's hard to tell what's going to happen.
Mm-hmm.
I just don't, for some reason, I just get an uneasy feeling whenever I watch any of that stuff.
Yeah.
Let's talk about some of the other pickups that some of the other teams have, where they picked up my favorite team, picked up Will Howard from Ohio State as their
Yeah,
quarterback.
we talking about
Will Howard and Jack Sawyer.
And I don't know what
I hate to say this, but that Jack Sawyer just felt like a Steeler pick.
yeah, well, so did Pickett back when he was drafted. I thought he'd be the quarterback there forever. And then now all of a sudden you're starting to see stuff in the news. Well, Terry Bradshaw said this about Will Howard's chances, and Ben Roethlisberger has come out and said this, and I don't know if it's glory hunting or what, but I thought it was kind of unusual. Will he do all right in Pittsburgh, you think?
Yeah, I think so. I think he'll do decent, but
Is he going to be a Ben Roethlisberger and beat the snot out of us every time?
I don't know.
I hope not. I'd like to see Cleveland beat them 2 times in a row. Just the whole season, But it's kind of sad.
Well, we can talk about the Cowboys and their pick or their trade.
What do we do there?
They got was it Pickens?
Yeah,
George Pickens.
he got Pickens from Pittsburgh because C.D. Lamb back up now.
Yeah, he'll be that second option. I think he's going to be out there. He'll be the second option. He's a big receiver. He comes with a little bit of drama, but he's talented. He's talented. He's big. I think that's a good thing for Dallas. I think that's a splash because CD's a heck of a receiver.
Yeah, C.D. Lamb. I've watched him off and on for a couple of years.
Yeah,
I don't think he's going to be too bad.
Yeah. So with Pickens over there, because for a while there, they really didn't. I don't want to say didn't have anything outside of CD, but he was the whole focal point of their receiving corps. And then, especially with no run game,
stuff that Dallas does sometimes kind of puzzles me.
Yeah, to say the least.
And I don't know. With Cleveland, it's a little bit different because you got actual general managers and that are going to take and they're the ones making the picks and making the team, putting the team together. Some of it that Cleveland has done in the past, you just sit there and shake your head at.
Yeah.
Including Mr. Watson's trade.
Mm-hmm.
But on the other side of that coin, you've got with Dallas. Do you think they'd do better if they had a general manager instead of the owner doing the picks?
At this point, I really don't, because, and I'll say this: our owner is so hands-on, and a GM would just be a figurehead for him. Just there, but he's doing what he'd be Jerry's puppet. I mean, it is what it is.
Well, that's kind of sort of the way that Andrew Berry is up here, but Berry's the scapegoat. If you look at it that way. But, if you're an owner of a team, do you have that much time to actually dig into drafts and run your scouting team and all that? That kind of Because the scout, let's face it, the scouting's where a lot of these players are made or broken. You know, you send a scout out to watch some of the high school and college games and actually dissect the person that they're going to look at.
Mm-hmm.
You know,
Right.
has an owner got that much time? I don't.
Apparently Jerry does. I don't know what he does, but he's very, very. He's a hands-on owner. It's
For certain.
That's the best way to put it.
I mean,
He's
trying to pick these players up.
he's going to
I got my boy, Shotty.
Yeah.
yeah.
I can just hear him as you guys are speaking that. Almost as bad as old Bill.
Mhm.
And by the way, have you seen old Bill in the news lately?
Yeah, with his girlfriend.
He's got himself a 24-year-old girlfriend
Yeah.
who acts as his assistant to everything. I thought they had him on, I think it was 60 Minutes or something. No, it wasn't. One of the morning shows of CBS Mornings.
Good Morning America, I think it was.
And, yeah, he's quite happy. Of course, he's 74, she's 24.
Well, I guess
That horny old goat, man, I'm telling you.
I think he did you see his ride?
No, I hadn't.
Driving now. He's driving a white van.
Just when you think you've seen it all.
Sorry.
They had her on one of the segments that I watched that was talking about how she helps him. And he says, you know, sometimes I get a little over enthusiastic about football, and she just seems to sit there and take it all. Yeah, she sits there and takes it all with dollar signs in her eyes. That's what's happening.
Yeah.
Hey, man, but I just thought that maybe I was wondering how they met. Did he say, "Hey, little girl, want some candy?" Or what?
Come here, little girl.
Okay.
Yeah, let's bring this back to some sort of.
Come here, little Gordon.
Well, I guess the next thing we can talk about is the NBA. Who's going all
watch
the way?
the Cavs fizzle.
Oh, that was sad.
Yeah, I mean injuries and everything, but they fizzled, and looks like Boston is the same way, man.
I know, because of the injury.
Injury, yeah.
Jason Tatum with that ruptured Achilles.
And so, could we possibly seen? I thought about this. You think about some drama? This would be some drama for you. The Knicks and Minnesota. With the as far as the NBA goes, because
The trade.
Julius Randle went to Minnesota, and
Cat going.
Big Cat going to the Knicks. Basically, just swap. That would be kind of funny to. That would be interesting.
Yep.
They kind of, for the East, so it was kind of crazy. Is back a few weeks ago on WWE, you had Halliburton going against Brunson
Huh.
Yeah.
on the WWE.
Well, the thing with the coming back to the cast for a minute, Donovan Mitchell was on the. They interviewed him after the game, and he said, he said, when you lose like that, it's disappointing. He says, and you sometimes wonder if you should just keep going or just give up. He says, I'm not that way in this case. He says, we should have won those games. And he said, for us to be as good as we are and fall apart in the second round, he says, it's embarrassing. He says, I don't want it to happen again. He says, as long as I'm with this team, and he says, I'm going to play my heart out. It was a good interview. I wish
he's all about the city too.
And the thing about it, when I watched, with all the injuries, Mitchell was for the most part this dude. He was a one man show out there, So with the injuries, unfortunate as they are, man, I had such high hopes for them.
I think within the next couple of years, you're going to see another. They're going to make the final round. If they win it or not, that'll be another thing. But they're going to make it there. I think they've got enough talent.
Yeah.
But what bothered me about this year was it seemed like they came out gangbusters and they didn't save some of the energy for the end.
Yeah.
And I think that's what killed them. And if they that team peaked almost at mid-season, and it shouldn't have. They should have saved some of it, but that's all in. Your coaching does a lot of that too. When you throw people into the ring like that,
yeah,
and that coach is I've seen a couple interviews with him, and he's motivated,
Mm-hmm.
but I'm not sure he's got the right thinking. Watching how that team played at the end, I think they were tired, and I think they were beat up, and he needed to have saved a little bit of that for the end.
Yeah, they were definitely beat up.
What did the Lakers do? They're not in it still, are they?
No, they fizzled as well, but they didn't have enough. The GM down here, he caught flack for the whole Luka trade, and I'll say this: had the Mavericks remained healthy, who knows? But that the Lakers as they are constructed currently, they're not that good a team. And I'll tell you why. As great a player as Luka is at times, is he any more than a James Harden? He's a volume shooter. He is, he's a good offensive player. One-on-one, he's one of the all-time greats in the league right now, as the league is currently. But they need some defense. And if LeBron James is your best defender on that team, you're not going to win.
Yeah.
You're not going to win a bunch of playoff games.
Yeah, that's
we
what I
talked to
thought.
Somebody who's in his 40s.
I'm tired of these damn teams building around one person, and the one person gets hurt, and that's the end of it.
And that's what they're trying to do with. Well, Lakers were, not that they're trying to, but that's the reason they got Luka, because he's that dude. He is that dude. But the thing of it is the Lakers really didn't have a big. So, they fought valiantly, but it bothered me that they did the trade that they did initially. But I'm good with it now, especially now that the NBA draft and Mavs wound up with Cooper Flagg, And
Oh, did they?
Yeah, he's going to be on because they got the number one. They won the lottery, so they got the choice of getting Cooper Flagg, the number one player in this draft.
Any idea what's going on with Mark Cuban?
I don't know. He's
Because he's stopping. He's no longer going to be on Shark Tank.
Yeah, I saw that last night. And,
he's no longer. Yeah. I don't know.
You almost get a feeling with that something's wrong that nobody knows about. And I saw that when I watched it last night. And, one of the reasons that I watched that program was for him. I thought he's a good businessman. And for him to leave something like that, I just wasn't sure how that was going to work.
Yeah, I mean, you talk about a guy who sold his controlling interest in his majority ownership in the Mavericks, and now he's leaving Shark Tank. I think I got a sneaky suspicion that he is going to go into the whole political. That's what I think.
Really? I didn't know he sold his interest in the Mac.
He sold it to the Sands Group from Las Vegas. Because they're trying to get gambling. Get a casino built down here.
Yeah, that's interesting. I didn't know that he sold his shares in that team.
Yep.
Yeah.
This is starting to make a little bit of sense. He was getting pretty political active there for a little while.
Yeah.
President Mark Cuban.
Yeah, I could see it.
Who knows? The circus that politics is in general has been for years and years and years. And who knows?
Yeah,
it's not my thing. I stay out of it. It is, some folks that are really passionate about it and definitely not my thing. I couldn't.
Yeah.
Man.
I kind of wonder where we're going to be in 4 years. Three and a half now. And, I've gotten to the point where I won't even watch any of the news except for local stuff.
Yeah.
These news channels most of them are full of BS anyway.
Yeah.
They're either Republican or they're not. And to me, it's got to the point where I just can't watch any of it.
Yeah.
Without seeing the orange man's hair on there.
I'm glad he isn't on the show today. Whew, I'm glad he's not on here today. But anyway, yeah, it's like I say, it's for years. It's just never been my thing. I'm not that guy. I hear some of them say some great things, and I hear some say some just flat out idiotic.
We won't even. I'm going to save this for our Monday show.
Yeah.
But I want to the Monday show. I want to discuss Donnie's new plane. We'll table that for another time.
There you go. Please do.
Anyway, who do you think? Who had the best draft, Sean?
I don't know. I would look at it, but I don't know.
And I say this.
Chicago had a pretty good draft.
I think it was such compared to other years, it was the draft was mediocre.
Yeah, that's what I thought too.
So for me, I really pretty mediocre. I was looking at some of the schedules and everything. I think, like I say, it's the NFL is. We see basketball on Christmas. Man, the NFL is kind of taking over there, man.
Yeah, I think with the way that things went, I think Chicago did have probably one of the better drafts there. I kind of think that Jacksonville did all right too, but it was because of the draft picks they actually had a smart draft pick, and thanks to Cleveland, they kind of pulled it off. What's going on in the baseball season? We're starting to get into May.
Looks like the Guardians are doing well.
Yeah, Guardians are doing well.
Rangers are doing about 500.
Yeah.
Yeah, I haven't really followed too much of the Guardians. I just really ain't had the time lately. The bats aren't going to warm up until the end of this month anyway. It's just the way that always works. And when you're playing 165 games, I guess that's the way that works out.
Yeah, you got time to catch up, so to speak, with what's going on with them. But yeah, it's baseball season being as it is.
They have the top 10 rankings here in terms of drafts on one site. Trying to see who they picked. They had the Raiders as number 1. Bills number 2. New England number 3. Giants number 4. Baltimore number 5. Chicago 6, Carolina 7, Kansas City 8, Rams 9, and Commanders 10.
So those are the top 10.
That's according to this.
To their
most impactful NFL draft classes for the upcoming season.
I wonder where the Browns were on that list.
Yeah, I don't know that either.
And your Cowboys.
I thought the Cowboys did decent.
I thought I really did.
Because they got, in the first round, they got their offensive guard to replace Martin.
Mm-hmm.
And then the second round, they got that Ezra or whatever his name is, the defensive end.
Yeah.
It's a sleeper, I thought. Because he's a sack machine. He's going to replace, what's his name? Lawrence.
Yeah.
And then the impact player I thought they got was Jaden Blue, the running back, and later in the round.
Which I was glad they got a running back later today.
Because he's a speedster.
And, and I'm hoping that if they can get some sort of run game, because you're looking at a team that hadn't had a run game in a while.
Talking about players, see Brock Purdy got signed his contract, 5 years, $265 million.
Wow. And I'm going to say this, they're going to regret that. Because Purdy, I don't think he's that good quarterback. He just kind of fell into the system, and he was surrounded with so much talent. I think they're going to regret that. I think Frisco was going to drop.
I thought San Francisco did halfway decent in the draft too. I don't remember who they picked up, but at the time when I heard what they picked up, it wasn't bad. That's West Coast, anyways. It'll be interesting when the actual plays get started. We got another month and a half for the first of the training camps start.
Mm-hmm.
I think that's going to be the interesting one again. Let's go. Was thinking maybe we could go look at the football schedules. Who's got the toughest schedule, I wonder?
Cowboys have a tough schedule this year.
Yeah, Cleveland is pretty much scattered all over the place. They play Cincinnati to begin with, and Cincinnati for the last game. Then they mix Baltimore in there and Pittsburgh.
Mm-hmm.
They've mixed them in there. They're more weeks apart than they've been recently, but I don't think the schedule's been that. I kind of think they got kind of a tough schedule this year.
Yeah, I think Cowboys have one of the more challenging.
The Giants have the worst schedule.
Yeah, they have the toughest
schedule. Giants, Chicago, Detroit, Philly.
Philadelphia Phillies.
And then the
Dallas Cowboys.
Cowboys have the fifth. Okay, where do they have Cleveland? Cleveland's right in the middle. 13th morning schedule.
That ain't too bad.
Yeah.
I've already heard somebody else here recently was saying that the Cleveland is already mathematically eliminated from the playoffs.
Yeah. Their first part of the schedule is strong.
Yeah.
That'll pretty much wipe them out. Who is they didn't do anything with that quarterback from Cincinnati, did they?
Carson. Or what is it? Oh, Burrow.
Burrow, yeah.
I don't know.
I hadn't heard his name recently. You got to kind of wonder what, especially with some of these East Coast teams that have picked up quarterbacks and that. That number 2 pick wasn't that Jacksonville we traded with?
Yes.
I kind of think that that kid they picked up, he's a dual threat. I would have liked to seen him here.
Could have both the players joined together. It's crazy.
Yeah.
Could have happened. It could have been Hunter and Sanders back together again.
I would have been all right.
I still like to pick up a Graham though, because they needed a run defense. So
yeah,
you get that with Graham and Schlesinger, up the middle.
Yeah. All right. Well, we're at 53 and a half minutes.
Okay.
We got anything else to chew over today?
Not.
I did watch a little bit of talking about NBA and that, but last night I watched a little bit of the WNBA with the first pick for the Dallas Wings down there, Paige Becker. So,
Never.
That's two another with the NBA draft and the WNBA draft. Dallas had the number one women's pick this year, and now they're going to have the number one men's pick. The last time that happened was back, I think 2006, 2007 with the Cavaliers. Wow. And the Rockers.
We're supposed to be getting another soccer league up here, I think.
I think they're talking about bringing back the Rockers, too, as a WNBA team.
Well, they ought to do that.
I know Mitchell has been trying to force that, too.
Something we can win at.
Mm-hmm.
Because evidently the other teams aren't quite there yet.
No. Well, they had some issues here.
Yeah. Who do you think's going to go to the Super Bowl this year?
Oh, man.
All predictions. Come on, guys. Let's hear it.
Cowboys.
Well, as Dallas Cowboy fans say here, this is our year.
And this is our year every year.
Cleveland's just wait till next year.
Cleveland is just confused.
Oh, my God.
They're just confused, that's all. When they see 0 and 30 or 0 and 32 or 1 and 32, they think they're doing great. They don't know how to reverse that.
What was tough is this. You look at it.
Need that reverse psychology.
You look at it, and the Commanders have gotten better, I think. I think they're only going to get better, excuse me. And then the Eagles just come off winning the Super Bowl. And
then their draft pick was pretty good, too.
And so now you're looking at, the NFC East, NFC East, we have Philly, Commanders, Dallas, and the Giants. So the scary part is we could wind up being the worst in our division.
Yeah, we could too. But that remains to be seen. Let's go ahead and wrap this up. I think we're at 57.
Okay.
All right. Coming back next week.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, wait. Next week was Memorial Day weekend. You want to do a show that or?
I don't think so. We'll give it a little week hiatus.
And then, next week, because I got also, that's got a graduation. What's that? Because the graduation is the 23rd. It's the Friday.
Yeah.
So it's going to be a full week for me.
All right, let's take and do a week hiatus, and we'll be back in 2 weeks.
Okay.
I think that next week is Memorial Day.
Yeah.
And so also my anniversary.
Yeah.
Been married to this woman 16 years.
Okay.
Oh my God, 16 years.
Yeah.
And she never ceases to amuse me.
Uh-huh.
I know she's over there.
Did you get your McDonald's coffee and a donut today? Not just kidding.
No.
How many years?
16.
I think it's 17.
We've known each other for 17.
Met in 2000.
That's what slang there.
Yeah. Our
Ask Sean.
Knowing, getting together.
our anniversary is 5/24/08.
Okay.
Right. That was 17 years ago, not 16.
Good God. I'm speechless.
I love you, honey. Mwah.
Yeah.
I was just ask Sean when he moved to Texas, because
How long you been in Texas?
Since November 07.
And we got married in
because he was in Texas. Sonia was able to come to the wedding, but he was in Texas.
5/24/08.
Wow. I was
18.
down here the week before Thanksgiving, and
Yep, it's been 17 years. We've known each other 18. Oh my God.
I came down
Anyway,
here on a rainy day,
let's wrap this up.
cold rainy day.
Next up for tomorrow is the radioactive show, 7:30 to about 9 o'clock, whenever we decide we're going to finish. Got a couple of things coming up on that one.
2007.
And we got Monday, there may be a Art of Argument show. I haven't really talked to Dale yet to find out if he's going to be available.
There's a week.
But if not, that show will probably be back in 3 weeks, because Memorial Day weekend is, we're going to just hiatus the whole weekend. Then in 2 weeks, we'll be back here.
Okay.
All right.
And y'all have a blessed week and all that kind of stuff.
Yeah. Everybody else.
Sean, you take care of yourself.
Yeah.
And Gordon, keep an eye on him for me.
Oh, yeah. For sure, for sure.
And we will see everybody in 2 weeks.
All right.
Have a good one, everybody. 7-3. This has been a Crooked River Media production.